My name's Pete Woods. You're watching Hexham TV. Who are you?
I'm Eleanor Baggaley. I'm a mum of three and a children's author.
Welcome,
Um,
welcome to Hexham TV, Eleanor.
Hi, lovely to be here. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your background, Eleanor.
I used to be a teacher. I was a maths teacher, a secondary school teacher for 11 years, and I left the classroom behind in 2017. So I still do quite a bit of work within the maths education sector, kind of mainly with teachers. But my primary reason for leaving was to start working with children in a different capacity. I started writing children's books. The first couple wrote themselves by accident almost. I'll go into that a little bit more in a minute. But I wanted to kind of work and empower children so that they could kind of live their best lives and have a better understanding of themselves and the world around them. I'd kind of set out so that the books are all named after my children. So the first two books are Maya the Unicorn. I have to make sure I get them the right way around. So I've got Maya the Unicorn and also Oscar the Dragon. So I got the children to kind of help me pick the characters. I picked mythical characters because of the theme of the book. So the books are the first two are about self-belief and confidence. So helping children to start believing in themselves. And sorry, my dog is kind of running around my feet now, chasing the cat as well. It's about kind of helping the children kind of believe in themselves, realize what they can achieve if they do believe in themselves. And they have little activities at the back as well. So rather than it just being a story, they can start thinking about kind of things that they're good at, things that they are grateful for, and all the things that they would like to do as they grow up, just to help. Sorry, Poppy, shush, shush. See, the cat and dog are as bad as the kids. They like to fight the same. So yeah, they're. I'm just going to go and get rid of the cat for you. Sorry, 2 seconds. Right.
So live broadcasting there.
Oh yeah, I was going to say never work with animals or children. I wouldn't mind. The cat never comes and sits here. He's just come and purposely sat here to wind the dog up. So those were kind of the first two books, really kind of with that theme of just helping children kind of believe in themselves and kind of be able to achieve what they wanted to do. And I'd say I picked the mythical characters because it was about kind of that self-belief, and obviously not everyone believes in unicorns and dragons, but they should do. So yeah, my children kind of helped me with the colours and the characters and things within those. And then I had a wonderful illustrator called Jen Garside who just kind of saw inside my head and brought the characters to life. And I just was so pleased with kind of what she managed to do with those. And then my third child, my youngest daughter, was born in 2018. And with that one, I wrote Ava the Mermaid. So I wasn't really sure what I was going to write about with this one. I knew I had to have a book for her. I couldn't miss her out. With her, we had a postnatal diagnosis for Down syndrome. So prior to that point, I was completely uneducated about Down syndrome, thought it was kind of our worlds were going to end and we didn't know what it was going to look like. How wrong I could have been. So we've been on a learning journey since then. So Ava the Mermaid is about kindness and inclusion. And there's little nods to Down syndrome throughout it. So although it's applicable to everybody, about how we can all kind of help include each other and kind of be kind to each other and understand how we can support each other. As I say, there are little nods to Down syndrome in there. So the mermaid's tail has 3 colours, whereas all the other mermaids have 2 colours in their tail. Her fins are slightly shorter, so it means that she can't swim as fast. I'm sure there's another one, but I can't remember what that one is in there at the moment. But again, kind of this one also has activities at the back of it. So I wanted the books so that they weren't just a story. they were a tool for parents to discuss with their children about the themes of the books, and how that might apply to them and their situation. So within this one, it's looking at kind of what they enjoy, what the children might do to help other people, what they struggle with themselves, and what they might need help with as well. So it's about the fact that actually we are all different. We all have our own difficulties, and we can all support each other. And actually, there's nothing to be feared by someone that might be a little bit different or might find something difficult. And actually, we can kind of just all have fun and play together, essentially. And then last year in lockdown, I was approached by a company who were trying to raise money for children's mental health. Obviously, this last year has affected everybody's mental health, but children kind of particularly, there's been a big increase in kind of phone calls to children's mental health charities. So they wanted to kind of have a collaborative ebook, and they wanted a theme of health within there. So I wrote my 4th book last year, the quickest I've kind of written one and done one, because there was quite a quick turnaround to get that out. And that was Ava the Mermaid Goes to Hospital. So it was based on our experience of when Ava had heart surgery at 4 months old, and how her siblings felt and the emotions that they went through, and they couldn't see her in hospital straight away. And obviously there were a lot of similarities with what children were experiencing last year if they couldn't see kind of friends and family, or they knew that friends and family might be poorly and they didn't know what was happening. So because of those similarities, I kind of wrote that story for that period, and that formed part of a collaborative ebook to start off with, and now it's available as a book of its own as well. And well, just going back to kind of Ava the Mermaid, the first one, I was really pleased because that one's been used by one of the national Down syndrome charities, called Positive About Down Syndrome. So they use that book within their packs that go out to kind of nurseries and schools to help the children, like young children, really understand what it's about and how they can kind of support each other.
That's amazing. You've done really well, particularly getting another book out during lockdown with 3 children.
Well, yeah. Certainly an interesting time anyway.
So what ages are the books aimed at?
So they're aimed at primary age children. There are, as I say, kind of the charity uses Ava the Mermaid one within nursery packs as well as kind of primary school packs as well. So they and there are a lot of parents that have kind of had them for preschool age children, but I suppose it's more kind of that kind of 4 to 10 age group, really. Just for the understanding. And obviously with that age, they are nice picture books, so there's kind of lots of colorful images on there, so they are great for younger children, but equally like slightly older ones can read them as well.
So how did you start writing then? You know, what sort of drove you? What was the impetus to make you want to get these messages across?
So as I say, the first 2 were written kind of by accident. They just happened, and it came out. There was me and a friend were looking at. We were both teachers, so as I say, kind of coming out of teaching, and we were both wanting a way that we could support teenagers specifically at that time. Obviously, these aren't for teenagers, but and we were wanting to kind of create something that would help teenagers after we'd both experienced kind of students that we were working with that were really struggling. They didn't know what direction they wanted to go in their life. So we were wanting to kind of pull together something to support them. And it was on the back of a session where we were kind of brainstorming ideas that I wrote the first 2 stories, Mine, the Unicorn, Oscar the Dragon. And I wasn't really sure where it came from. My background being in maths, I always thought I wasn't very creative. I've since found out I am quite creative, and that was kind of a limit I put on myself. But yeah, and then just I did actually sit on them for a couple of years really, because I didn't know what to do with them. I had these kind of like rough things I'd drawn out, but I didn't know what to do with them. But I knew I wanted to get the message out there. And that's when I approached the illustrator, and I kind of made it up as I went along to just try and get them in front of as many children as I possibly could at that point.
Very good. And so I understand that you're working on another book now that's aimed at teenagers, so probably where you were originally starting at.
Yeah, so after 4 years of kind of not really focusing on that area at all, and focusing on the younger children, I decided that it was probably time to actually start looking at that. So it was just before Christmas. I started looking at kind of how that might pull together. I've never anticipated in it being created in a book. I'd always thought that I would kind of create a program or something like that around it. So it was a bit of a surprise actually when it came to me, in kind of thinking, well, actually, let's put a book together. So yeah, it's I'm not going to reveal the title just yet, but I'm quite excited about kind of my working title with it at the moment. It is something quite relevant, but it's the stuff that you need to know about life that they don't necessarily teach you at school. So kind of looking, again, kind of similar things to the younger children's books. It's looking at how they can be the best person that they can be, how they can kind of study best, what they might want to do beyond school, and kind of looking at ways that they can help get there.
Very good. And when do you think that might be available?
So the plan is that it'll be available from the 1st of September. And I've put it out there now, so it's going to have to happen. So yeah, we're working on that behind the scenes, and yeah, it should be available ready for the 1st of September.
Great. And just talking about your own personal experience of bringing up a child with Down syndrome, Eleanor, and as you say, perhaps you've learned a lot. What do you think the key lessons are? What would you say to someone perhaps who's potentially expecting a baby and has had the diagnosis that their baby might be affected by Downs?
So after having Ava, I was really keen on, because I knew that I had been pretty ignorant previously, mainly because I hadn't had that experience. I hadn't had that knowledge and information. So I made a decision then that I was wanting to support, like help with some charities and actually try and help kind of change perceptions. So I did actually start volunteering with Positive About Down Syndrome. And I kind of just help out with kind of a few bits and pieces with them. And it is something I feel really passionate about, trying to change perceptions to help people understand kind of the reality. As I say, like we didn't know anything. We thought that I did have all the tests through each of my 3 pregnancies, and part of that was I didn't want to have a child that was going to be a burden and impact negatively on my other children. Oh my God, how wrong I could have been. Like, she has made every single one of us into better people. And yes, we've had kind of more hospital visits and things like that, but in all honesty, that's just part of kind of normal. It doesn't impact us. It doesn't really we don't see any kind of difference there. And I say my other 2 children have grown immensely as a result of having her in our family. She is doing so well. Like we learned Makaton straight away to be able to communicate with her. I wanted a social space to be able to kind of allow her to practice that, allow me to practice that, so I knew what I was doing. So we created kind of a baby signing group where other people could come and kind of use the signs and have fun singing and playing and doing things like that as well. And she's coming up to 3 in May. She can communicate all of her needs to us. She's a stubborn little diva, just like a big sister. She is just so cheeky. She loves to play on the slides. She loves to play with her dolls. She absolutely adores chocolate. She is just like any other typical 2, nearly 3-year-old. we've had to put a little bit more effort into kind of helping her reach her milestones with her walking. I'd say we're still not there with the talking, but she communicates with a Makaton, which is her voice at the moment, and she's developing her speech as well. So, there is absolutely nothing to be feared, and I do believe that kind of a lot of fear comes from a lack of understanding and information, and that's why I feel really strongly about kind of helping to support that and helping to improve the information that's available.
Very good. And are you still involved in teaching in any way?
So now it's mainly adults. So I teach kind of teachers. So we do a lot of teacher training with maths. Again, it's kind of to help them become better in terms of what they're teaching, how they're teaching, in order to have the best impact on the students. I'm all about kind of helping children in any way possible to have the best outcomes. And yes, it's just a bit more of an indirect route with that.
So if people want to find out more about what you do, Eleanor, or to purchase any of your books, where should they go?
So the best place is my website. So we've got eleanorbaggaley.com is probably the best place to kind of find out information about me. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram as Eleanor Baggaley Author, Twitter as eBaggaley, and I'm also on LinkedIn. So I'm pretty much anywhere you go, you'll be able to find me. And the books are available on Amazon or Etsy as well. So you can just kind of search straight into Amazon for them and they'll show up.
Great. Well, it's been wonderful to talk to you, Eleanor, and it's really important and to talk to everyone, adults and children, about inclusivity and everyone being different, because we are all different, but we've all got something to offer. And it's about bringing those skills and that learning and that appreciation of what everyone's got to offer out.
It'd be boring if we were all the same, wouldn't it?
Yeah, wouldn't it just? So thank you very much for talking to Hexham TV today, Eleanor, and good luck with your new book.
Okay, thank you very much.